Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Nick.
Hello.
How's it going? So he deals with cannabis. He's a sexologist, and he deals with cannabis and sex.
Yes.
He even has a book with lots of vaginas in it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So tell us about why cannabis and sex are such good friends.
The connection that it can create and the environment that it can create. It's how it just opens you up. It slows you down. And anybody who's smoked and gotten high will talk about the fact that food tastes better, music is incredible, touch, your skin is alive, and teaching couples how to incorporate that when they get stuck with a marital problem or anything like that. It's just fun. It's a gateway to connection and happiness and a more loving way to be.
Got it, got it. So how long have you been smoking the wacky tobacco?
How long have I been smoking wacky? Oh my God, ever since I was like 17.
17.
Yeah,
Nice,
it wasn't
nice.
even legal back in Wisconsin. They didn't know what it was.
Is it legal now in Wisconsin?
No, it's still not
Okay,
legal
okay.
now.
I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about your book. What inspired that?
The passionate high, what it's based on is the possibility of using cannabis to enhance your life rather than suppress it. I think most people get stoned because they've had a shitty day. They go home, and you just all your worries go away, and you sit on the couch eating Doritos and playing video games. I mean, and then it works great for that. But the other possibilities of it are bypassed. And when you, at the beginning of the high, when you smoke a little bit, it opens you up to possibility if you use your intentions properly. And that's what intrigued me. How when people get stuck in life or they have a lot of guilt or they have stories in their head, to be able to use cannabis to change that and empower them, that's what the passionate high is about.
So you talk about setting an intention. How do you go about setting an intention?
Well, you got to decide what you want to do with the high. Anybody who's smoked knows that if you're in a bad mood, it intensifies how you're feeling. So when you get high, it opens the mind up to what you're believing in and what's going on. So I'll give a good example of a couple. Maybe they've been together 20 years. They're not making love anymore. They got a lot of resentment over the years. Things have gone wrong, maybe an affair or bankruptcy. And I tell them, take some cannabis, get out pictures of when you first met, play the music that you played when you used to make love at the beginning. Now, if I tell them to do that without cannabis, they'll look at that stuff and they'll go, yeah, but that was then and this is now. Cannabis seems to do that. The intention is to set in the setting. Like Timothy Leary talks about when you do acid, the set and the setting of doing the acid is so important. And the same thing with cannabis. The intention of before you get high, saying, I'm going to get high, and this is what I want to accomplish. That's where the miracle of pot lies. And that's what I enjoy about it. I've used it that way, and I've shown a lot of people to use it, and it does.
Got it. Earlier you talked about when you have an idea and using cannabis a lot of times writing down those ideas and how some of those ideas came to fruition. Tell me a little more about that.
I've always loved the pipe dreams. And my buddies, we would get together sometimes all through life and we get stuck. We were working hard. We hated our jobs. And rather than get drunk on a weekend, we'd sit out on a patio and smoke pot. And we would talk. And crazy shit comes up. You're high. You
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the pipe dreams. But we would start jotting them down. And then in the week afterwards at work, start looking at them and go, well, that one isn't so crazy. Yeah, that one's dumb. It ain't ever going to happen. But that one is actually a possibility. And then we would encourage each other and we may make it together another month and smoke a little bit and then start analyzing and would use that high to change our lives.
Got it. So tell me about like the different strains.
Everybody is so different on that. I personally need a sativa. I need something that is uplifting and euphoric. I want to get to that place where I'm excited. And then I transfer that to I'm excited about life. I'm grateful to be alive. I do that. A lot of people, it depends where you hold your block, I'm going to call it. A lot of people who get migraines are very heady. So they think a lot. So to me, the sativa helps me with that. A lot of people will hold it in their gut. They'll have a lot of internal organ issues. They'll have, a a lot of indigestion issues. To them, I find that an indica works better for them. So part of the passionate high is you got to find your strain that opens you up to possibility. And to me, that's a journey in itself. And to try different strains. And in the back of my booklet, I have a place where you buy a little bit of each strain, you smoke it with intention, you pay attention to your high. Because I think anybody who's smoked pot, I mean, you probably agree that there are times when you'll take a hit of something and go, oh, I don't like that high. You know,
I've never smoked before.
okay. Somehow. Something's really wrong with this interview.
It's a gateway drug.
Yeah. It's a gateway to empowerment. It's a gateway to happiness. It's a gateway to the peace on earth and create, relating back to Mother Nature. Yes, it is a gateway drug.
I love what you did there. I love it. It's not a gate to heroin.
No.
Yeah.
No. You can use it any way you want. That's the miracle of the plant,
So how does cannabis set the mood for, you talked about the relationship for 20 years, like say you're new to a relationship, how does it help set the mood?
It has these cognitive effects of the brain. I'm always intrigued with the high. I know it has a tremendous physical abilities to help people with all sorts of illnesses. But to me, what intrigued me was what was the high? And there's a great guy that is doing a lot of research, and he calls the bouquet of cognitive effects. And he talks about the fact, just like if you get high, like sometimes you'll listen to a song and you'll get lost in the song. Or it'll bring you back to the childhood, like you'll smell cut grass, the lawn being mowed, and all of a sudden you're back to when you were 11. What is that? Well, it's the enhancement of the brain, and memory perception, smell is enhanced, taste is enhanced. So think about it. You're sitting with your partner and you want to work on something, and you want to work, maybe in a sexual situation. Think about what this can do to the two of you when you do the set in the setting. And like I said, playing the music you used to play, looking at old photographs, it accentuates it. You get into the photograph, you get into the music, you get into the food. And people always ask me, well, where does passion come from? Where does sensuality come from? It doesn't come from sex. It comes from the way you are. It comes from the fact that you're smelling, the fact that you're tasting, the fact that you're into your body. That's organically where desire and sexuality comes from. So to me, cannabis sets the stage for possibility.
Do you believe that the brain for women is the biggest sex organ?
Oh, definitely. It's, to me, women approach sex to create connection. Men are sexual to be connected. We come at it from different things. So to me,
say that again.
Women are sexual. Let me think how I got to word that properly. When they feel comfortable with you and they feel connected to you, they'll be sexual with you. For men, in most cases, by being sexual, they feel connected.
Oh,
so you kind of have the opposite thing going on. So to me,
it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. What cannabis does is it's foreplay in a way, and it's foreplay that is free of pressure. It's foreplay that is more organic, about us getting back into our bodies and our spirit and our connection. A lot of communication. A lot of couples who've never smoked, they go home and they think they're going to have wild sex the first time they get high. And they'll come back in next week and I'll say, well, how did it go? And they said, we fell asleep in each other's arms. We didn't have sex, so it didn't work. And it's like, no, that's exactly the opposite. It worked. You two, when was the last time you got a good night's sleep? Well, we're both stressed. When was the last time you fell asleep in each other's arms? Other couples will stay up all night and talk. They're high, they're talking, they're hitting the thing. That's intimacy. Intimacy isn't just jumping into bed and being sexual. Intimacy is something that's created, and women are so starved for that right now, and they want that from their men. And it's easier for a man when he's buzzed. It slows him down. It slows men down, and it takes us, we're more appreciative and we're more communicative on that.
Yeah. So I've never done this, but in my experience, by observing it, there's certain, like say alcohol, on college campuses, they're teaching like if a woman has one beer, then of a female student has one beer, then she can't consent.
Consent.
Oh yeah. So with outside of that, just like outside of college, is I know ecstasy. I think it's you might consent in a situation. Does cannabis give you that free give a woman that free place to be able to make an impact decision?
I definitely believe there's a big difference there. Once again, it's going to depend on consumption. Can you smoke yourself to a point where you're not coherent enough to make decisions? Yes. And that's why, to me, the guide is telling us we don't want to go there. We want to just smoke enough that we're awake, we're conscious, and we're into that place where we can make decisions. So no, to me,
Because that's not. I mean, in it's not sexy for me when somebody's just like not
yeah,
totally present
yeah.
for that for and being able to make a healthy decision right there. I usually like abort that situation.
Sex is a really complicated thing, and especially for younger people to navigate that, to form the intimacy to do that. So most younger people, their first, second, third experiences sexually is generally drunk, because what it does is it lets the inhibitions down, and they don't, all the stories in their head are gone, and they're able to move forward. To me, it's really usually bad sex, and consent is a big issue in that. I want, if I was going to teach my kids how to have their first sexual experience, I don't want them drunk. I want them awake and aware, and I want them communicating and asking for what they want and enjoying the experience. So I would definitely say, don't use alcohol, and if you're going to use cannabis, just a tiny bit of it to make it a little bit more enjoyable. So yeah, consent is the big issue.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, we're gonna like lock this down right here, and we're gonna do a second part in a little bit. Peace.
Thanks.